Okay, Hare Krishna. Welcome to this special session on Bhagavad Gita for youth. So, this session was set up based on requests from children that are attending the Bhagavad Gita classes. And since it's holiday time, and we thought let's have a session for kids, a special session. So, what I plan to do is we have about an hour. So it's a 1.5 hour session. We'll see how long it goes. I'll try to keep it to 1.5 hours or less. I want to mainly do this like a Q&A, a question answer session, or answer your questions. But I want to start off with some slides, some material that I have prepared, and have more of a sort of a discussion oriented session. So let's see how it goes, and um, we'll try to make it productive and useful for everyone. So, having said that, now most of you are or your parents are attending Bhagavad Gita classes or have read Bhagavad Gita as it is by Srila Prabhupada, Abhay Charnaravind Bhaktivedanta Swami, and are more or less familiar with largely the contents of the Bhagavad Gita. So, are there any children here who are completely unfamiliar, not familiar with Bhagavad Gita? Do you want to raise your hands and show me? Or let me modify the question. Either you or your parents are not familiar at all. Maybe you got the link from someone and you were interested but have no familiarity at all with Bhagavad Gita. Okay, I don't see anybody like that raising their hands, so which is good. So at least you or someone in your family, more or less, pretty much your parents, have an understanding of the major aspects or major concepts of Bhagavad Gita. So I will assume that that's the baseline, or that's the assumption I will make that for the purposes of this session. So having said that, let's start. I'm going to share some slides, and here you go. Okay, you can see these slides. Okay, great. So what we will cover today, what is the purpose of Bhagavad Gita's existence? Why do we need Bhagavad Gita? What is it all about? Then I'll be focusing on the importance of understanding and applying the Bhagavad Gita in our lives. So really understanding what is the message there. So we want to become very familiar with that. And then we will focus on two aspects of the message of Bhagavad Gita. One at a material level, which means becoming good youth or becoming good kids. And at the spiritual level, which means becoming good devotees of Krishna, because Krishna spoke the Bhagavad Gita. So becoming good devotees of Krishna, and then we'll share a lot of resources and we'll go into Q&A. So this session, we will not be covering the sort of the detailed contents of Bhagavad Gita chapter by chapter. It's not possible to do that in 1 hour by any stretch. We will cover some of the important themes, however, but we won't sort of go through the Bhagavad Gita. For that, I invite you to read Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita, called Bhagavad Gita as it is. I'm sure all of you have that. You also have yes, great, somebody is showing that, very good. You also have the link to the website where the entire Bhagavad Gita is available for you to read. It's called vedabase.io. and you can read the Bhagavad Gita right there, and many other spiritual books are available there to read. So we will jump straight into um, what you all are interested in, which is questions, answers, and sharing your thoughts. But before we get there, I just want to start with some basic aspects. And at any point, if you have questions, you can raise your hand, and I'll pick on you. Okay. So, and another thing, if you all can turn on your videos, it gives me a more personal experience. It can give you all a personal experience as well of having, a whole bunch of children and youth in the class. So I hope you're all sitting at a nice and quiet place, uh, and not kind of doing multiple things. So try to find a good, nice place to sit and listen and interact. Okay. So, what is the purpose of Bhagavad Gita's existence? So, the human body is like a machine. And we have read from Bhagavad Gita that the body is the machine and the soul is like the driver inside the machine, or the driver that is operating the machine. So, for every machine, you need a manual. And if you have the manual of the machine, you can operate the machine very nicely. You know all the controls, you know how things work, you don't end up pressing the wrong buttons, and you can use the machine for something productive, for something useful for your life. So in the same way, the human body is a machine, and the Bhagavad Gita is like a manual. And if we read the Bhagavad Gita, we can know how to make best use of the human body, this human body that we have received. And especially in the age of Kali Yuga, it is even more important to use this machine exactly in the way it is designed, because there is a lot of possibility to misuse this machine. And a lot of people think and are in the Kali Yuga, as it is known as the age of quarrel and hypocrisy. Hypocrisy is more subtle, and it's more problematic than quarrel. Quarrel is something you can see and detect, like when children fight or something, you can say, okay, I don't want to be part of this, I'm leaving. But hypocrisy is little more uh, hard to detect, and by the time you detect it, it's too late many a times. So a lot of people are propagating or saying these days that there are many other things to do with your life, and trying to make us believe that this human life is meant for something which it is not. And by the time we realize that, oh, I have been tricked into using this human life, into using it for something else, and you want to make a correction, make a change in your life, it's too late. And that is why it is even more important to read the manual before you start, or you spend too much time living this life. And that is why Bhagavad Gita is especially more important to read earlier in life rather than later in life, because you have then a lot of life left in front of you to live it according to the manual. And that is why it is very important for children, because you children have a very long life ahead of you. So the better you know how to use this human life, the more happy, the more uh, joyful, the more satisfied you will be throughout your life. So in this uh, discussion or class today, we will be discussing about Bhagavad Gita, but I will also be bringing up the topic of Srimad Bhagavatam. So Srimad Bhagavatam is no different from Bhagavad Gita. They are both the same. When I say they are both the same, they are both the same in principle, in concepts. Bhagavad Gita is very compact, and it's like a law book. So the Bhagavad Gita is a law book which explains the laws, whereas Srimad Bhagavatam is a compilation or a a much bigger book, and it has a lot of case studies. Case studies means a lot of stories, or and these are not stories like imaginary stories, but these are real stories. And what do you call real stories that have happened in the past? You call it history. It actually happened to various people, these things, or these um, situations and incidents, and how those people applied the laws from Bhagavad Gita and had a happy and successful life. So not only you have the law book, you also have a lot of examples from Srimad Bhagavatam on how to apply the laws in the law book. So you can get a much better understanding of how to apply the laws. If you just have the laws, that's good. But it's much better if you know other people who have applied it, so that you can get a sense of how you can apply it. It's like your mom can tell you the recipe of cooking something, some sweet. But if she shows you this is how to cook it, and you see it getting cooked few times in front of your eyes, then you can, it'll be much easier for you to cook the same thing again. So we will be talking, or we'll be referring to Srimad Bhagavatam as well a few times. So, like I said earlier, Bhagavad Gita is not just a material manual. It doesn't just tell you how to be happy in this life. In this life, you're a human being and you are surrounded by the material world. You have your home, you have school, you have your parents, friends, and all other things. So that is the material life you are in right now. But there is also the spiritual side of your life. And typically, people think about the spiritual side of life as that part of life where you connect with somebody that is beyond this material world, which means you connect to something, some higher power. And we give that name, that of that higher power, as God. And in the Bhagavad Gita, a large part of the Bhagavad Gita is also about developing that connection with God. So it talks about the spiritual side as well, and the material side as well. So that is the purpose of Bhagavad Gita's existence. So first, let's talk about material level. At the in this world, how to become good kids. Because if you are uh, taking care of your material aspects, it becomes much easier to adopt and to apply the Bhagavad Gita in your life once you are already on that plane of what is called as the mode of goodness. Mode of goodness just means being a good person. So, as a child, as a youth, I can see some of the videos. You are all looking like in the age group of, I don't know, maybe from 8 to 15 ish, somewhere in that range. So you're not like little toddlers, 3 or 4 years old, and you're not adults either. You're not 18 years old or anything like that. So you're somewhere in the middle. And a lot of these things would or could apply to you. So the point I am trying to make is that the very first thing one should do is to become good kids. And a lot of you already know what it means. Your parents have been telling you right from when you started listening to them, or maybe since when you stopped listening to them, whichever the case may be, what it means to be a good child. But I have listed down here a few things, and maybe if you want to add a few things to it, that would be great as well. So, the first thing is to develop good habits. Well, that is very generic, very broad. If you develop good habits, you become a good kid. What does it mean? Now, I just wrote down a few things that came to my mind. I meet a lot of kids, or at least I used to meet a lot of kids before COVID and all that. I used to teach in the Sunday school at the temple, and interact in general. I love interacting with kids. So, um, uh, some of the aspects of being developing good habits are like using good language, not using any kind of foul or derogatory or bad language, being respectful to everyone, not only elders, of course, to the elders, parents, teachers, others, other elders, but even to those that are younger than you. You can be a role model, being a setting an example that what it is to be a good child to your siblings, to teachers, friends, etc. And then another aspect of being a good kid is to, so those are the do's, what to do, what to not do. You will see in Bhagavad Gita and in Srimad Bhagavatam this importance of association. In Bhagavad Gita, it is known as Sangha. Sangha means whom you associate with. So, to build good association and to give up bad association and give up bad association of people and giving up bad association of habits. And that brings us to the third point, which is extremely, extremely important. There will be, like I said, in the external world, there is a lot of misunderstanding about what it means to live a happy life and what it means to be cool, to be popular, to be loved by everyone, to be liked by everyone, to be everybody's friend. There are some children who are everybody's friend. Everybody likes them for various reasons. So, and some of them may be good reasons, but some of those are not so good reasons as well. So there will be a lot of peer pressure to be cool, and to be cool, and I have used that word cool as a in quotes, as per their standards, as per the standards that are out there. And if you're not adhering to those standards, if you're not cool by those standards, then you might feel that you're not everybody's friend. And there is this burning need in ourselves to gain the acknowledgement of as many people as possible. And to gain that acknowledgement, we are willing, in many cases, we are willing to give up a lot. We are willing to give up our principles. We are willing to give up our good habits. We are willing to give up, trade many things so that we can get the acknowledgement and approval of others. So that is something you have to think, how important is that compared to upholding your concepts, your principles and your values. So you must resist that peer pressure to become engrossed in materialistic activities, just too much materialism. So what are some of the examples, for such things? Do you, any of you, any examples come to mind where you feel, may not be explicitly, may not be somebody has come and told you, but you just feel that you have to do this to be accepted by others, and as students of Bhagavad Gita, or as those who understand what it means to be a good child, you know that it's not the right thing to do. So what are some of the things that you are sort of forced to do explicitly or implicitly in this area? Anybody would like to say or share?
You're expected to like dress a certain way or look a certain way, like especially just being in like a different nation or nationality's body is also just not very accepting. Sometimes you have to look a certain way in society.
Great point, Sandini, and I'm glad you hit right the nail on the head. One of the things, and especially with girls, is to dress a certain way. And if you're not dressing in a particular way, then it's hard to find yourself be accepted. by your sort of peers in out there in the material world. And that's a big peer pressure, and somehow you have to resist that and to uphold your values. So that's a very, very good point, exceptionally good point. And the way to handle that pressure is to to realize the value of the spiritual principles, and to see that yes, I am sacrificing the so-called temporary or transient, that moment of happiness to be acknowledged by others. I'm sacrificing that for a much greater happiness that will come, or that comes through our spiritual journey. And also, when those same children, when they grow up and become adults, then they realize, oh my God, what a stupid thing I did when I was a child. That was absolutely stupid. That was something that I should not have done. So it's not that something that is, so the better, and you know the more you realize that, it will give you the strength to deal or to resist that kind of peer pressure. Great point. Dress is something which is very, very problematic, and is really going in the wrong direction, especially in you know in all parts of the world. In all parts of the world. Anything else? Any other points?
Can I share something?
Yes.
I wanted to share an example of like giving up good habits for making friends with other people.
Go
Like
ahead.
so one example was like Karna was a good person. Well, when he made friends with Duryodhana, he gave up his good habits and then he became a bad person.
Yes, great example. Very good example. And uh, some of the things that he did, that were like lying, and making fun of others, bullying, and many other things like that, and all again due to bad association of the Kauravas. Great point. So in your life, what else is there? So one of the somebody was sharing with me, one of the children, was that um, it's not considered very nice to uh, respect your teachers. You have to be, you call them names. You don't say please or thank you. You just say yes. As if it's their paid employees. They do their duty. They're supposed to be teaching, and they're being paid to do it, and we are their customers. So we treat them like our service providers, and that leads to a decline in the quality of the language, in the quality of interaction with our teachers, and so on. So yes, they are being paid to do their job, and many teachers do treat their work as their job. But still, as a student, it is our utmost responsibility to respect our teachers and to thank them for whatever they are doing. Some of the teachers are very good. Some of the teachers are normal or mediocre, or are doing just what they're supposed to do. But we must always respect them. We must never disrespect them. And if you're showing respect to your teachers, but your friends are not, you may be the odd man out, or odd child out, and others might make fun of you. Oh, you're too nice to your teachers. um, so one must learn to resist those kind of things. There are many other things here, so let's go down this list. This next topic, or this next line of this is something a little more modern. This too much engagement in social media, too much addiction to your devices. This thing is very, very problematic. Now, agreed that some of this is needed for doing your homework, for your schoolwork. Some of this is necessary and cannot be avoided, more so in today's situation when everything is online. But this whole addiction to social media, to being this constant obsession with how many friends I have, how many likes I have, uh, how many people reply to my messages if I send them, and how soon they reply, as a measure of my popularity with them. And this constant addiction, and not getting away from your smartphone or from your devices, is something that is that's eating up today's youth uh, a lot. So that is another aspect of children becoming very, very self-conscious. And we must, as good children, you must rise up above that, to realize that life is much, much beyond the set of friends or so-called friends that we have on social media. um, Earlier, few years ago, it used to be a lot of video games, and then even before that it used to be TV. Now TV has converted to YouTube, and constantly watching YouTube, constantly watching all kinds of nonsense. And then there are all kinds of suggestions that keep popping up on the side, and you constantly are tempted to just keep clicking, and some of those things may be really bad stuff. So all this is creating a lot of um, um, psychological and developmental issues in the kids. So try and stay away as much as possible, only what is necessary for your schoolwork, or what is necessary to do whatever basic work that you need to do. Use these things, but otherwise try to stay away as much as possible from all this. Focus on your studies as kids. That's a very, very important aspect. Now, it doesn't mean you become a bookworm and keep studying all the time. There needs to be a good deal of playing, interacting with others, doing a lot of fun things. So in the last 4 bullets, I have tried to list down many such things. Go out and play. These days you can't play with your friends because of social distancing and all that. But after COVID is over, go out and play with your friends, play with real people rather than virtual. Uh, if you're inside the house, play something that's non-screen based. Remember the good old board games, or Legos, or other things. Just there's too much of screen, there is too much of online stuff that we are occupied with. Try to get rid of it and engage your brain and your consciousness in other areas. Read good books, not just school books, but there are a lot of other good books out there. Get some books from the library, and read them, like physical books, not online. And engage yourself in other creative activities. If whatever you're interested in, it could be music, playing an instrument, uh, art, craft, origami, like making those paper folding things. Whatever, girls may be interested in crochet, or some kind of other artistic things. Or there are so many things to do, to engage your mind and your creativity and your interest. So engage in a lot of those activities. And the most important thing is, don't waste time. um, Little bit, yes, you do need to take a break, and do fool around for some time, but make sure it's very, very limited, or almost not there at all. So these are some things I put together at a material level of becoming, becoming good kids, giving up bad association and taking good association. Anything else anybody wants to add here? I see one person has unmuted. Do you want to say something? Vivo? No? Yes? Okay. So we'll go to the next slide. At the spiritual level. Now, at the spiritual level, we'll focus on Bhagavad Gita, on Srimad Bhagavatam, uh, and this will be part of the rest of the discussion. But as I said, it will not be possible to go through the contents of Bhagavad Gita in this 1 hour session. So the idea here is to regularly read Bhagavad Gita. And I agree, it may appear to be hard in the beginning, but there are many, many ways in which it has been made very simple at the kids level. And I will share some resources at the end where you can make use of those, books or other things to make the concepts of Bhagavad Gita easy for you to understand. But the best way to understand Bhagavad Gita is along with your parents. So I hope the parents are also listening of all the kids that have joined. And it is absolutely essential that the parents should understand the Bhagavad Gita and simplify the message, make it accessible to the children's level, and give it to the children in a way they can understand. So, of course, the parents must understand it first. Only then they can do that for their children. And children, you must understand that the parents are trying to do this for your benefit. As children grow up, parents become the last person you want to listen to. If the parent says something, uh, sometimes, or in this age, children just want to do the opposite, but someone else tells them the exact same thing, then it makes sense. So realize that the parents are trying to say this for your good. Have some try to take the value from what they are sharing, and slowly you should try to read Bhagavad Gita yourself. It's not that hard. Once you sort of understand the concepts, then when you read it, you will know what is being said. So in this way, there is no better age than your youth age, than your, I would say any child above 10 years old. Maybe some of the children that are even less than 10 should easily be able to understand the main concepts of Bhagavad Gita, the main ones, not every single verse, but the main concepts should be possible to understand by every child at, at most 10 years old, if not younger. So the parents have a big role to play in this. So having said that, let's go to the next slide of how to understand Bhagavad Gita. And then we will come to discuss how to apply it. To apply something, you have to first understand it. So try to become familiar with some of the most important verses or the shlokas or the concepts, because the verse is highlighting a particular concept. And there are many, many concepts in the Bhagavad Gita. So you can pick out verses. The parents can help here to pick out verses that showcase, that show a particular concept. And through those verses, teach the children the concepts of the Bhagavad Gita. Now, one trap, and I have seen many parents fall into this trap, is to memorize shlokas. Don't just focus on memorizing the shlokas in Sanskrit or their English translations. Many parents, they make their kids memorize the shlokas as if they are making them ready for a stage performance. When somebody comes to their house, they will say, "Hey, child, come here, come on, recite all the shlokas you have memorized." And the child just repeats it like a parrot. Everybody claps. Yes, good child. But the reality is that the children do not understand what they have just um, said or what they have just repeated. It's just a simple memorization, like memorizing some you know phone numbers, meaningless, some meaningless garbage. That should never be the case. You should understand, you should put more focus on understanding the meaning than on memorizing. It's okay to not memorize if you don't have to, but understanding the meaning should definitely happen. And then if you can memorize, also very good, but not at the cost of not understanding the meaning. So you should become familiar with the main topics or the concepts or themes of Bhagavad Gita. So we will try to list them out. I think I had somewhere where yeah, what are the main topics? So we'll do that exercise. And another point is that, some of these, you will see that online there'll be some Bhagavad Gita quizzes or, things like that. They have not done a very good justice to for kids to understand Bhagavad Gita. Many of them, the focus is on things like names, who was whose father, who was whose son, or all the characters that are there in the Ramayana or Mahabharata. Just focusing on names. Like, again, it's all memorizing, memorizing, memorizing. So, as parents, you should discuss the concepts of Bhagavad Gita. You can do things like, okay, tell me one concept of Bhagavad Gita that you remember. If the child says something, then have a discussion about it. What do you mean? Can you give an example of this? Or something like that, and focus on their understanding of Bhagavad Gita rather than just plain and simple memorization. So, concepts need to be understood and internalized. Concepts you cannot memorize. Names and places can be memorized. So, this should be discouraged. Name memorizations of names, places, and other things of shlokas, just words. This should be encouraged and promoted, understanding the concepts. Okay, once you understand the concepts and once you appreciate the concepts, then automatically there is an inspiration. Oh, I want to remember it. And then there is a internal encouragement, internal inspiration to memorize the verses. That is the best. Okay, so that is how you should approach the Bhagavad Gita. And somewhere I said make notes. Did I say that anywhere? Yeah, here. So that's coming later. Okay. So now many of you children have been are familiar with the Bhagavad Gita. Can some of you list down what are some of the main topics or concepts in Bhagavad Gita? Just some of the main learnings that come to your mind uh, after having read Bhagavad Gita. And many of you have read a lot of Bhagavad Gita. I can see a lot of kids and see the list of kids.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, can I tell one?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
One of the main parts are like if you kill the bad people, but you actually think that they're good, and God thinks they're bad. If you just kill them, but their soul will never die.
Great. Okay. So body is what should we say? What's the right word? Body is temporary or something, but soul is eternal. What should we say here? Body is, someone help me. Temporary or
Perishes.
Body perishes. Yes, that's a good way. Body perishes, but soul is eternal. Very good. Somebody has raised hand. Yes, Lokanshu, go ahead. Unmute yourself and
Okay, I want. Okay, I'm going. I'm going to do 2.12, and I'm going to also read translation after. Natvayvaham jatu nasam natvam neme jarani baham nachaiva nam abhishama sarve vaya mataparam. Never was it that never was never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kings, nor the future shall any of us cease to be.
very good. So that's the same concept. Body perishes, but soul is eternal. At a high level, it's the same concept, but very good. 2.12, 2.13, those verses highlight the same points. Yes, Parnika, a different one.
Sorry about that. My friends keep messaging me. Well, the Bhagavad Gita is basically a song sung by Krishna, and it mainly talks about like what bhakti means.
Very good. So the importance of bhakti. Very good. And maybe we can expand on this. Some of the kids can expand on importance of bhakti a little more. Yes, Ved Shah, you want to say something?
Gita talks about how to stay even-minded in times of happiness and sorrow.
Great, excellent point. Great work, and the words also were great. Even-mindedness in happiness and sorrow. Excellent. Yes, Monica.
Do not fear and do not have any attachments.
Great. Do not have attachments. I will extend that to material things, because attachment to spiritual things is highly recommended, but not to material things. Great. Okay, let's see.
So do not fear also.
Do not fear. Okay, do not fear what? Okay, let's go on. So then we have this person whose name is, I don't know, it's all a bunch of signs. And then Sandini. Oh, it says Advaita? Okay, I didn't see that. Go ahead.
If you pray to Krishna, you don't have to have any attachments.
So I will put it as praying to Krishna is the supreme attachment. Okay, that's or I would say not praying to Krishna, or I would say attachment to Krishna is the supreme attachment. Yes, Sandini.
Can I have?
Were you saying something, Advaita?
No, I also want to say another one.
Okay.
We should also one of the main things on Bhagavad Gita is we have to do karma.
Aha. Keep doing your karma. There's a but after that. Does somebody want to keep doing your karma? Yes, but
Do it for Krishna Bhakti.
okay, great. That's another way. Do it for Krishna. Another way, before in the earlier chapters, it is do it without the desire for results or without the attachment for results. That's another way. But do it for Krishna is a higher level of concept. Yes, Sandini.
Hare Krishna. So another main topic of the Bhagavad Gita is also that it mentions how you want to control your mind
you want to control your mind in this material world and have Krishna in the center of the activities that you perform.
Absolutely. Excellent. So control the mind and focus it on Krishna. Can I say that? Okay. That's a wonderful list we are coming up with here. Anything else?
Can I say one, Prabhuji?
Yes.
So like Hare Krishna is the fastest way to get results, but don't do it for the sake of getting results.
Aha. So bhakti, do not misuse bhakti for material gain. Excellent. Very good. Someone else has their hand raised. Lukanshu, is that from the previous time or you want to add another one?
I want to add another one.
Go ahead.
2.7, which says, if you are confused about your duty, then surrender unto Krishna and ask, please instruct me.
Excellent. Surrender in love to Krishna and look for his advice when confused, when one is confused. Great. Anything else? We're coming up with an excellent list here. Vidisha has something great. Go ahead. You want to say something, Vidisha?
Yeah, like if you give him like water, a leaf, a flower, or like he'll be like pleased.
Yes. So loving / pleasing / worshipping Krishna is very, very simple. Can I say that? Okay, great. Okay, any, last two, or maybe just last one. Anybody? We will move on now. I think you all have covered all the main points. I can't recall any main concept that is not covered in this list. This is excellent. Okay. The last thing I would add here is always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna, which is just a summary of everything that has been said before. So these are the main topics, and maybe we forgot few of the main topics here and there, but like this, it shows that whoever brought up these points, you are understanding some of these topics. Now, various children brought up these topics. So you must get to a point where you, as one child, one youth, should be able to list down maybe 5 or 8 or 10 topics of the Bhagavad Gita all by yourself. So try to get to that stage. So we will discuss in one of the next slides about hearing and about Shravana and as to how to, some processes, some methods on how to internalize the teachings of Bhagavad Gita. But here I want to focus on application. So this list that we came up with is an excellent list. Now, what to do with this list? What to do with this list is to apply it in your life. And as I said earlier, it is much easier to apply the Bhagavad Gita. An application of Bhagavad Gita in many, many cases means lifestyle changes. It's not just about, 5 minutes of extra thing that you add in your existing life. It's about changing your life to make it centered around Krishna. And it requires lifestyle changes to really follow, to really apply those teachings in your life. So it's much easier to do those changes when you are a child than when you are an adult. As you grow older and older and older, the body, and when I say body, it includes the mind as well. Mind is part of the body. The mind becomes, just like the body, becomes more and more rigid. You can see with the older people, you ask them to, sit in a particular position, they can't sit for very long time. It starts paining, it starts hurting because the body becomes rigid. In the same way, but children can do that very easily. I can't even sit on the floor easily for 15 minutes, but my children can sit on the floor for hours because the body becomes rigid. In the same way, the mind also becomes rigid. So, as children, it's much easier to adopt the teachings of Bhagavad Gita than as adults. Now, it doesn't mean that adults should give up. You should definitely try. And one of the teachings of Bhagavad Gita that I think we missed listing earlier is that when you try to apply Bhagavad Gita in your life, whether it is children or adults, Krishna comes and helps you. Krishna removes the obstacles for you to apply the Bhagavad Gita in your life. So, with his help, you can overcome whatever problems that may be there in your life. But still, in childhood, it is much, much easier to apply Bhagavad Gita. And sometimes, or many times, children inspire parents. Children start taking on the principles of Bhagavad Gita, and then the parents think, wow, if my child can do it, I can do it too. And sometimes, usually the parents inspire children to do things. But I have seen in so many cases that children end up inspiring the parents. So these are some of the things that you can, some of the aspects of applying Bhagavad Gita. So again, maybe just a few, not as many as the last time. What are the various ways in which you can apply Bhagavad Gita in your life? Some practical ways. Some children. Vidisha, did you have your hand raised now, or is it from the previous one?
Now,
Okay, go ahead.
like maybe you could like apply the various types of apply Bhagavad Gita by like listening to kirtan, and like with all this technology we can listen to kirtan and all that stuff, like Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Swarnam Padasevanam, like we could listen to kirtan and like.
Wonderful. So I'll list down listening to kirtan, which is Krishna's holy names. What else? Anybody else? Daivik?
So another topic that I thought of is like do puja, or like do Hare Krishna, or at least like for like half an hour a day.
Wonderful. Worship Krishna. Remember Krishna for some time every day. Say 30 minutes. Great. Okay. Lokanshu, and then, yeah, we'll keep going down the list. Lokanshu, go ahead.
Like depending on the circumstances, you apply some verses in your life.
Yeah, I'm asking you to pick something, one thing.
Like reading it for at least 5 minutes a day.
Okay, reading Bhagavad Gita for 5 minutes every day. Perfect. Great. Okay. Let's see who has their hand raised. Balaram, I can see your hand in the video.
Like chanting every day. Chanting every day.
Chanting every day. Very good. Good job. Okay. Monica. And then Advaita, Ved, Parnika.
Sorry, what do you want to tell? I wanted to tell that we eat prasadam, and we give prasadam.
Excellent. Excellent. We eat not prasadam, Krishna prasadam. which means we offer whatever food we have cooked to Krishna and then we eat afterwards. So, and then distribute Adam to others. Excellent. Wonderful. Okay,
We-
then we had Monica. Did you want to say something?
Yes,
Go ahead.
doing japa every day.
Yes, doing japa every day. This is chanting. Great.
I know, I'm doing yoga.
And then Ved, and then Pernika.
You can meditate to control your mind.
Okay. What kind of meditation? Or let's just put it as daily meditation to control the mind. Okay. Yes, Pernika.
You can like thank Krishna for everything he's
Yeah, being thankful to Krishna.
giving us.
Being, thankful or slash feeling of gratitude to Krishna. Okay, last two. Let's see. Is there anybody else? I think you, okay. Advaita, yes?
My name is Advita Prabhuji.
Advaita, sorry for mispronouncing. Very sorry.
Never get attached to anything materialistic.
Okay. So give me an example, like applying in your life. So not being attached. Is there any specific thing you can say that you gave up attachment to?
Like eating outside food and
Excellent. Great. Eating restaurant food, and especially where,
meat.
prasadam, you can eat restaurant food when it's a temple restaurant where they offer to Krishna, but not all kinds of restaurants where they cook. Who knows what.
And bakeries without bakeries since they have egg in them.
Yes, non-vegetarian stuff. Okay, we'll stop here. I think we can keep going on, but maybe we can keep going on for one more minute. Okay, Monica.
That was from last time.
Okay, then you can clear your hand. Who else? Okay, now we'll stop here. Don't raise your hands anymore. We'll just take these last two, or okay, now only one is left. Ved. And then Lasya, I see your hand. Ved, Shah, is your hand raised from past or now?
From past.
Okay, no problem. Lasya, did you want to say something?
Yes. So do not worry too much.
Very good. Don't worry too much. And I would add here about material problems, about things that bother you day to day. Leave it to Krishna. Okay, very good. Excellent. So see how much you can, to be honest with you, I don't do all these things myself. This is such a heavy, such a wonderful list. Doing this, what is written here, is just phenomenal. So try to do some of these things, if not all of these things. And that will be real application of Bhagavad Gita in your life. This is excellent list. Wonderful. And there are many more things that can be done, but this is a wonderful sample. So now we'll just come to, I'll wrap up and then we'll do question answers. So very quickly, how to read Bhagavad Gita. So pick up a chapter of Bhagavad Gita. There are 18 chapters in Bhagavad Gita, but there are 300 chapters in Srimad Bhagavatam. So there's a lot of reading that can be done. So pick up a chapter and read the chapter. You can read just the translations in the first pass, and then later on you can read the purports as well. Or if you have time, you can slowly read the purports as well. And this is a very important aspect. Make brief notes. Whatever you remember, it doesn't have to be like a school homework where you're trying to get 100% and you have to make everything needs to be captured in the notes. That is not the mentality you should have, because then it will not be sustainable. So make just whatever you remember from that chapter, whatever you read. Maybe you forget the most important point, but maybe you remember the second, third, fourth most important point. That's okay. Write it down, make a notebook and write down, today I read this. Write down 3 or 4 points, what you remember. Don't go back and look again, because then again it becomes non-sustainable. It's good to do, go back and look and all that, but very soon it will become such a big activity that you can't sustain it. Sustaining is more important than doing it perfectly for the first few days and then dropping it. It's better to sustain a medium level for a much longer time. So just write down, and once a month or once in 15 days, I say once a month, revise your notes. Try to remember what you have written down. So, like this, you can very, very nicely, and over a long period of time, you will start to understand, you will start to assimilate, you will start to really internalize the concepts. Now, this is another important point I want to make. Shravanam. Shravanam means to hear. Modern way of hearing is reading a book. So reading a book or hearing from someone is no different. Books are just a modern way of hearing. There were no books maybe 500 years ago. Uh, the books came into existence after the printing press came into existence, right? So for the process of hearing, it is no different for kids or adults. There is nothing like Bhagavad Gita for kids and Bhagavad Gita for adults. It is the same. In matter of spiritual progress, even adults are pretty much as, I would say, as immature or as much at a beginner level as kids. I promise you, as kids, you have all the intelligence needed to understand Bhagavad Gita. To be honest with you, everything we listed down here, all this list, and then this list of what are the main topics, 90% of the adults don't know or realize that this is what is there in Bhagavad Gita. So Bhagavad Gita is very, very accessible to kids. Even the Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam, I would say, is even more accessible because it is full of stories and case studies of of uh, of devotees of Krishna or of God. So don't think that there is Bhagavad Gita for kids, Bhagavad Gita for adults. It's the same Bhagavad Gita for everyone. Just have to read carefully, listen carefully. That's all. And that applies even to adults. Adults also, their mind wanders. And then they, after half an hour, will say, oh, what's happening? I forgot everything. So don't think only kids do that. Adults also do that. So the point is, there is no difference between kids and adults in matters of reading or understanding Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay. And then, so this was about how to read Bhagavad Gita. Remember, making notes, revising the notes, and then about Kirtana. So Shravana, hearing, and speaking. So in speaking, almost every child I have met, every single child, I cannot remember any child who is not, so I would say the percentage is 100%, is interested in singing or kirtan, some form of singing or kirtan. So try to pick up that habit of doing the kirtan of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And you can do it with other children. And that way you can learn from them. You can learn to play some of the instruments like kartals and mridanga from the older kids. This is how all kids learn. They learn it from little bit older kids. They have learned it from their elders. And this is how in the parampara system, this whole mridanga, kartal, harmonium, this kind of keeps passing down. So try to develop a taste for kirtan, and also try to develop a taste of doing some japa every day along with parents. Again, here parents have a very important role to play. Sit down with your kids and inspire them. Don't force them, but inspire them. Let's do it. Let's do it together. It makes Krishna happy. You know, club your various activities together. That, okay, we will 5 minutes, we will read one verse of Bhagavad Gita, an important concept. We will discuss it for few minutes, and we will do japa for 15 minutes. You can do that, make it a family activity. And then, like someone said, eating Krishna Prasad. Offer anything fresh that is cooked at home to Krishna, or anything brought from store, anything fresh like fruits or milk or nuts, etc. Not items that are cooked outside, but cooking, if you do, or any raw items like fruits, nuts, milk, etc. from outside, offer to Krishna and then eat it. Recite the prasadam prayers before honoring the prasadam. And then finally, I think this is the last two slides. So there are a lot of resources. I have not myself gone through every single one of them. So, and these resources are based on various age groups. So I request parents to look at these and offer it to their children, whatever is suitable according to their age, according to their taste and liking, whatever. But there's a whole bunch of resources. This ISKCON Desire Tree website is one of the best websites ever. And if you add the kids word before it, so it becomes kids.iskondesiretree.com. There is another website called gurukul.iskondesiretree.com. Lot of material is there. It's not possible for me to go through even how much material that is there. You should go through it and make use of the material there as as you find it applicable to yourself. Now, there is another website called Hare Krishna Sunday School. And there are a lot of wonderful materials for kids to study. Now, unfortunately, this is not free. This is paid. And it's divided into age groups. So you can go and have a look. It's not extremely expensive. I think it is still affordable for many people. And we used this material as part of our Sunday school. So I'm personally very, very familiar with all this material here, and I highly recommend it. If you can purchase it and use it for your kids, I'm talking to parents right now, it'll be a very, very nice resource. Another wonderful resource for reading Srimad Bhagavatam for children is this book by Arudha Mataji. She lives in Boise. She is the one who started the ISKCON temple in Boise along with her husband, and have a very, very wonderful family. And she has written these books known as a comprehensive guide for young readers, Srimad Bhagavatam, and 3 cantos are available, 1, 2, and 3. So very nice book that children can use to understand or to read through Srimad Bhagavatam, to internalize it. Again, the focus in all these books is not memorization, but concepts and understanding and application. So these are all available on Amazon.com. Each volume has different prices. You can go have a look and make use of it. Then for parents, another wonderful resource is this book written again by same Arudha Mataji called Homeschooling Krishna's Children. It is a book on homeschooling, but it is an excellent resource for all parents. Even if you, that's why I've highlighted and made this yellow highlighting, even if you have no plan or no desire to homeschool, still it is packed with so much guidance, tremendous amount of guidance on how to bring up kids, how to nurture kids. So parents can make use of this resource of how to upbring devotee children, good children, both from material point of view and spiritual point of view. It is packed with unlimited, tremendous amount of ideas, guidance, and all those things. So I highly, highly recommend it. We used this and all the learnings we got from Arudha Mataji, and we homeschooled our kids for I don't know, 10 years now, and it's been going great. So it's a tried and tested uh, material. So I'll end there. That's my last slide. So these are some of the resources. This talk, I will post it on YouTube. So you will be able to see all this matter in the video that will be posted, and you can make use of it. So it's 5:11 right now. I'll stop here and we can have some questions, comments, either by children, by parents, whoever, on anything not related to any, it may not even be related to what we discussed. It could be in general about how to make progress in your spiritual life as children.
Prabhuji,
Yes.
okay. This is Sohan. What did you want to say? Can we see the slide for Prashadam?
Yes.
Thank you. Oh.
Any other question?
Nope. No, no, Prabhuji. We just wanted to take a quick screenshot.
Sure. And this will be posted on YouTube, so you can access it from
Thank you, Prabhuji.
the same channel, my channel, where we post all the Bhagavad Gita class recordings. So if you're not aware, all the Bhagavad Gita class recordings are available on the channel where we have been posting. It goes by my name, Param Karuna Das. You can go there and go through all the Bhagavad Gita classes starting from chapter 1. And we are at chapter 11 right now. And plus we will post today's recording as well.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Anything else?
Can you talk?
Any other questions?
Say like someone.
Prabhuji, can we have this class again?
No, okay.
So what do you want to do in the class? I mean, like we have the Bhagavad Gita class already. And as I said, Bhagavad Gita for children versus adults is not much different. So what extra do you want to, what is it that you want to accomplish? That's what I want to know, that we are not already doing. And then we are starting another series on Srimad Bhagavatam. Again, it's not a series, but it's just like one class, we'll take up one topic each time. So it's not a sequence. So even if you miss something, the next one will be on a totally different topic. So you can attend as much as possible, and I highly recommend it. So through the study of Bhagavad Gita, through the study of Srimad Bhagavatam, and asking questions, interacting, will give you the sort of the information, but ultimately then you are supposed to go and apply it in your life. I can only pass on information and ideas and thoughts. Application is very important, and that need to happen at your side.
Maybe we can study all the important verses or the chapters.
Okay, but I would say we are doing that as part of the Bhagavad Gita class. If you want, I have already shown this in the Bhagavad Gita class, a list of 40 important verses from the Bhagavad Gita. So you can focus on those 40 verses. I think there are 40 or 42, plus there are some more verses from other scriptures as well. So there are more than 40 actually.
Okay, thank you, Prabhuji.
So are there any kids who don't know about the Bhagavad Gita classes? Okay. So how do we tell them? So maybe you can post my wife, who invited all of you and did all the registration and all, she can post a link to the list, the playlist of all the Bhagavad Gita classes, and you can go and listen to those. And together with that, read the Bhagavad Gita as it is book, which goes along with, it's the textbook for that course. So read that book and follow through the lectures, and you should be able to get a good understanding of Bhagavad Gita. Other questions?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes.
I have a question.
Yes.
Having a pet is considered cool, but not as per spiritual principles. So
Having a what?
pets.
Pets.
Yeah.
Okay.
So is that like that's a peer pressure? So why should we not have pet?
So I don't have a good reference to say that pets are not something which it is not encouraged or not advised. You can have pets. Okay. But the point is that how much will that, first of all, in what consciousness are you wanting to get the pet? To look cool? Because then once you have the pet, okay, your friends will acknowledge you. Okay, you have a pet. Great. You're part of us. You're part of our gang, so to say. Once that dies out, there will be something else that will come up. Oh, you don't have this. Now you'll go after getting that new thing. And then later you'll go after getting the new other next thing, then the next thing, then the next thing. And pet is especially something you cannot just adopt a pet and don't care for it. Okay, it becomes more of a long-term commitment. So be very clear whether it is just for peer pressure, just to kind of check box, to put a check in the check box. I have a pet because all my friends have a pet. Check, 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 check. I also have a pet. Check. But now you are bound into this commitment. And the second thing is how much of that will take you away from the time that you would spend on Krishna.
Okay.
Okay. So if all those things work out, okay, if let's say you have several brothers and sisters, everybody wants a pet, they say that yes, we will together take care of the pet, and if the pet can be easily managed, then fine. I don't see any particular problem as such in that, let's say, compared to some other things that you could say which are strongly against the principles of Bhagavad Gita, like eating meat, or some other even worse things that can be done, which are against the principles. I don't think pets are necessarily strictly against.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Now if you get a dog, or usually pet means dog, now are you going to feed meat to the dog? Dogs are meat eaters technically. I don't know if vegetarian people keep dogs and then what do they feed the dog. I don't know. Maybe he or she will become a vegetarian dog. So that's fine.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Somebody, you have a, okay, it's gone. Anything else? And we can end sooner if there are no questions. I see one question in the chat. Some children feel sometime that how do we know that Krishna is there for real? What if Krishna is not real? So this is a very good question and a very hard question to answer. Okay. And the only, or not the only, I would say the best answer is for you to try out the teachings of Bhagavad Gita, like we listed down in the discussion today. What are the concepts of Bhagavad Gita and how can we apply it in our life? We made both those type of lists. You need to try out understanding Bhagavad Gita and try out applying it in your life and see if there is some positive change that you like. You always can categorize things into areas that you like and that you don't like. That is our natural tendency. I like this, I don't like this. Or even the animals have this. They can always differentiate between friends and enemies. So things they like or and things they don't like. So you can see if there is some positive change in your life after doing that practice. And if there is a positive change in your life, that means Krishna is real. And even if Krishna is not real, doing those activities is making a positive change in your life. It is making you happier. Why not continue to do it? Forget whether Krishna is real or unreal. It's giving you happiness. So go ahead and continue. And if you continue seriously enough, Krishna will make it very, very clear in your life that he is real. He will have his own way to let you know the answer. And everyone will get a different type of answer, but you will get an answer if you ask that question seriously and sincerely enough. So the answer is to try out the process sincerely before you reject it. Okay, Lasya, you have your hand raised.
I have something to add with offer anything fresh cooked at home or bought from the store to Krishna.
Okay.
It is do not serve non-vegetarian food.
That's true. Yes. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam Yome Bhaktya Prayachati. So things that are in this category of fruits, flowers, water, or leaf. So non-vegetarian does not fall in that category. So yes, very good. Aditya, you have your hand raised?
Yeah.
Yes.
I just wanted to ask, how should I stay calm if my brother's fighting with me?
Okay. But do you, okay, if your brother is fighting with you, that's one thing, but do you have good times with your brother as well?
Yes.
Or is always fighting 100%?
We sometimes have good times.
You have good times. Okay, great. So you can, um, do you think your brother is really, really a bad person when he's fighting with you? Okay. So you do have good times with him. He is your good friend. Is he older than you, younger than you?
Older than me.
How much older?
5.
5 years? Okay. So you're younger. I was hoping that you will say your brother is younger, but that's okay. As you being younger can remember all the good things he has done for you and realize that whenever that fight is occurring, he really is not he's not really uh, truly your enemy or is not truly mean to you. Children between themselves fight, and that's a part of love between brothers, sisters, and siblings. So as long as there's a fight and then afterwards it becomes happy, then that's just part of your being brothers and sisters. If brothers and sisters are always, if they never fight, I would say that is a sign of a problem. How come you're brothers and sisters and never fight? So some fights are good. Even Krishna had fights with his friends. Okay. Lord Rama and Mother Sita also had fights, even though Lord Ram is known as the ideal husband. Mother Sita said some very strong words to Lord Ram when he was asked to leave uh, Ayodhya and go into the forest. You know that story, right, about Lord Ram? And he said to his wife that you should stay in the palace. And she said some very, very strong things. Oh, you want to just leave me alone. You just want to go into the forest and abandon me and all those things. That's why you don't want to take me with you. So they had a big fight. And then Lord Ram said, okay, fine, you come with me. So, as long as it is not in the heart, do you think that he really fights with you from the heart? Like he really, really, really is your enemy or dislikes you? No, then that's part of being brothers and sisters. Forgive him. And sometimes you can fight back also. He will like it. Okay, just don't be mean. Be very nice at heart. Okay, respect your brother, love him. End of all the fight, there should be love. And that's just part of being a brother and sister. Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Anybody has hand raised, or I can't see a hand raised? I don't. Okay, if nothing else, we are coming close to our ending time. It's 5:27. So any last question? If not, then I hope this session was useful to you. You are welcome to send your questions if you have any questions in the future, or you are welcome to come to the Bhagavad Gita class or the Srimad Bhagavatam class or any other classes we do. You can ask your questions there. You can send me your questions. I may not answer you directly, but I will take up those questions in one of the subsequent classes so that everybody can hear the answer to your question, because they may also have the same question. So that is the benefit of having the question answers in public. So thank you very much for coming here, asking these wonderful questions, making those wonderful lists, your realizations from Bhagavad Gita, how to apply it. This video will be posted on YouTube. You can go back and go through it again, make notes of whatever you found valuable, and learn from all the or take whatever tips or advice or guidance that was given, make use of it to whatever extent it applies to you, and try to become good children, both at a material level and at a spiritual level, and go ahead and spread this gift of spiritual knowledge that you have got from Lord Krishna. Go and spread it in your family, to your parents, to your friends, to others, in a nice and mindful way. So go ahead and become good devotees of Krishna. Okay, we will end there.
Just one last thing. Anybody staying in Oregon, Portland, wants the Bhagavad Gita.
And if you are living in Portland, Oregon, and if you want Bhagavad Gita, you can contact us. You can come to our place and get a copy, paper copy of Bhagavad Gita from us. Okay, and if you have any questions, feel free to send us questions later. Okay, thank you very much. I'll stop the recording and I'll hang around here in the chat. If you want to ask any questions, then you can ask.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Thank you.